And turning on the mic. So we are live, the SemiPros, with Frankie, Eric, Zach, and David, and myself.
Hello. What's up?
Nobody has a hat on except for Eric, because Eric's not as cool as everybody else.
Get one.
Come on, Eric.
Obviously, the coolest because mine's backwards. So.
So stupid, dude.
We've denoted the hierarchy with hats.
I was there for a pretty long time. You could have just gave me a hat.
All right, so we're live. So what are we going to talk about, guys? You going to do quick introductions?
Yeah, we should probably. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, guess not. Well, my name is Mike, and these are my buddies. And we all get together. Well, pretty much we're always together all the time in Slack every day, spelling out problems that we have, answering each other's questions, bitching at each other, making fun of each other, and just overall like helping each other out. Yeah, that's pretty much what we are. It's like a place where a bunch of guys, well, it's not just guys, but it just happens to be guys right now, come together and are able to voice problems and issues to people that are just like us, who are also professionals and have experience doing the same kinds of things. So yeah, it's a really powerful thing. Equally beneficial.
I'm Eric.
Yes. So on the top left we have Eric. On the top right we have it's over here, Frankie. And then
Frankie, what's up?
Then Zach, and then David down there. And so Frankie and Eric just met, or not, we didn't just meet, but they met face to face yesterday, right? Or was that today? It was the other
that was a couple of days ago. Actually, Frankie, me, Eric, and Zach all got a chance to meet.
No, I didn't meet Zach.
No, I'm saying I met both of you guys.
Right.
Oh yeah, Zach was there too.
Yeah.
I was there yesterday.
Eric had a bounce.
How was it, guys? How was the AIGA conference?
Friday was don't give Eric anything in terms of swag day, and then Saturday was.
I was on.
Who's salty?
I should have got something for being on there. I asked a very insightful question.
Did I get something? Did I get something? Is there something on my head?
It's not red, dude. I don't know. It's not red, so I can't see it.
I know. If Chris watches this later, I'm very salty that I'm the only one that didn't get a hat. I am gonna come.
He's gonna like show up in your back window over there with a hat for you.
Chris is gonna tell you that's your fault.
Pops up, you know.
You didn't act.
True.
And so he gave out a bunch of these the prototypes that he had, and after his talk, because he anchored on the first night, he was the last speaker, and he was like, "Hey, where are the True Future fans at? Like, where are you guys at?" And there was a couple people like right away, like, "Yup, right here." He's like, "Come up to the front of the stage." So a couple people did, and he started throwing the hats, and like right when he started throwing the hats, people were like, "Oh, I'm a Future fan!" Like up to the front of the stage. And then, I mean, he only had like 7 or 8 hats, so they went quick, and like people were coming by. Somebody even stopped him for the ones that Angel designed. I don't know if Angel is watching, but dude, thank you, really dope hat. We should throw his stuff up at some point. But anyway, somebody stopped Chris, and they were like, "Oh, can I take a picture of your hat?" And he's like, yeah. But like they only wanted his hat.
Yeah.
Like so they basically like were like, no, we just want the hat. I don't think they really knew who he was anyway, but it was pretty funny. He's made a pretty big impression.
All right.
But yeah,
well, that covers.
I'm not salty.
Man, it was good.
Yeah, the hats are getting more discussion right already on this chat.
Exactly.
All right, we'll talk about the conference.
The takeaways. Yeah, Frankie, you were there the longest. So what was like some of the big takeaways for you?
Yeah, cool. So I met a couple different people, man. I got to talk with Megan D, who's one of Diane's friends, and Mina. They were speakers, and they were awesome. Just meeting, and then they introduced me to a couple more people. I guess that's like the benefit of these conferences, right? Because you go and you meet one person, and they know a couple other people, and all of a sudden, I met this guy Prescott. He's actually from New Jersey too, originally like a town over where I'm from. He's teaching at Arizona. He's I forget exactly what he's teaching, but Yeah, dude, he was awesome. We went to lunch. Obviously hung out with Chris and those guys, Ben and Matt. And Mark and Jonah, man, they don't get enough love. They're always behind the camera, but they're pretty
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, for sure. And then saw Michael Beirut. He was walking around.
Just chilling.
I didn't go up to him because I don't know, man. And then
So wait, tell us about Michael Beirut.
he was there, dude. He was there. What
What was he like?
He's watching this.
That's the guy that's the oh god, how do you say it? Exhibit? I can't say it. Exhibitionist, right?
Yo, Mike, are you saying Michael Beirut was on Pimp My Ride? Are you trying to make
No, I can't remember if he's the other in our group. We had a call where we talked about Draplin and somebody else. Was he the other one we talked about, or was that somebody else? They're opposing.
I think probably was. They're the polar opposites. I think I know which call you're talking about.
Yeah, so like he gets naked all the time, right? And takes pictures of himself naked all the time. It's like a big thing he does. Is that not him?
That's
Stagmeister.
Oh, that's Stagmeister. You're right.
Definitely not Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think
that's
he
what
only
that
did that
was.
once.
That was Stagmeister and Draplin and the polar opposites of the Disney community.
Yeah, there you go.
I was like, I don't know, man. He didn't talk about it. So
All right, because he didn't.
Debbie Millman too. Debbie Millman. She sat down.
She was
with Chris,
great.
Dude. That was crazy.
I want to see that
I hope
video.
that conversation happens, man. They were like she did
wanna see
great.
it. I wanna see it.
I think they said that the segment got cut off in the last like 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, well, the internet thing dropped, but they have the. So at some point, I imagine that they'll release it, but they'll probably cut it up. But I want to see the uncut version.
Oh,
It was cool.
Julian said that's why you didn't enjoy it because I didn't get the hat. Plus, I got a ticket. Hey, I didn't tell you, huh, Frank? I got a ticket. Yeah, so I parked at the place across the street, like on the random street parking. And I just paid for 2 hours. And I totally forgot because we came on the live stream, right?
Yeah.
And then when I got out, I was like, oh shit, I forgot to pay for my parking, like repay. And it's on the phone, so I could do it at any time. And I walked over and I was like, oh God, I hope I really didn't get a ticket. But I walked out around like 2:30 and I didn't know how long I paid for parking. So I walked over and I looked at the ticket and it's like, there's this yellow thing on my dashboard and I'm like, gosh. I was like, looked at it. It's like $51. And I just thought in my head, like, I mean, I didn't pay for AIGA. So technically it's like I paid $51 to go to the conference.
It was worth it.
It's a pretty good deal, right?
Dude, did I tell you guys about my Airbnb?
No.
Okay. Well, it was super nice woman and I had a great experience. But the conference started at like, I don't know, 7:30 in the morning was registration, and it ran until like 7 or 8 at night. So I didn't go, and I was in communication with this woman. I was like, hey, I was actually staying in a room. I didn't have the whole place to myself. I was like, I'm going to be late. All the stuff. She's like, yeah, no problem. This is the passcode to get in and everything. And this is my first Airbnb experience, and like staying at this Airbnb was cheaper than like one night at the Sheraton. And I'm not like frugal by any means, but it's like, dude, between parking and everything else, like this place is like a block away. Like I'm definitely doing it. So I did. And I got to the, Chris actually dropped me off after we had like dinner or something. And he was like, are you good?
What,
I was like,
gave you a ride too? He gave you a hat and a ride?
Damn.
Yeah.
He's behind him right now.
Yeah, dude, he didn't even give me a
Just like
poster,
this.
man.
That's crazy. Yeah. He paid for dinner and lunch. But anyway, so we were going to the Airbnb, dropped me off. I was like, nah, man, you can go. I'm good. So I get in. It's completely like pitch black, dude. So I'm like, all right, I have no idea. Like, I don't want to like knock anything over, like mess up this person's house. So I go downstairs where I think the room is. I open the door. It's like a garage. I'm like, oh, this is not where I'm supposed to be. So I'm like, I'm moving pretty quiet, not making any noise whatsoever. I get upstairs because there's nobody like at the floor level. And I see like a door is closed or some light under it. I'm like, I think that's their room. Finally kind of like make it into my room. Figured it out. It was good. Took off the next morning. I didn't see this woman until like the morning that I left with my bag. She was like sleeping on the pull-out couch. I was like, hey, I've been staying in your house for the past 2 days. Thank you. But I have to go now. I appreciate it. I left her a banging review, but It was like the weirdest thing, man. It was a
How much
weird
was
first.
the room? How much was the room at like the night?
It was cheap, man. It was like definitely under $200, and I can't remember. Like it was basically like 2 nights there was cheaper than 1 night at the Sheraton.
Yeah, but the Sheraton is really nice.
Well, normally, like when me and my wife go places, we get an entire house, and the entire house is usually like $150 a night or something.
But is it in Pasadena, California?
Is that like a crazy?
And there's a
place
conference
for it?
happening too.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
that's true.
Good point.
I Zillowed on my way in, just to have some knowledge of the area, and
Yeah, rates are high.
yeah, dude, it was like there was nothing under like $700.
It's pretty good.
Probably for like one room.
Did you think that the conference was worth it? How much did you pay for the ticket? Because you're the only one who paid for the ticket.
So I paid. Yeah, you guys had badges. Nobody even knew your name. Oh no, Eric, hold on. Before I get into that, tell them what happened to you at the door.
Oh, okay. So I was wearing Aaron's badge because he wasn't there for the second day, and then I'm like super shy, and I feel already bad about using someone else's badge to get into this expensive event.
Are
and
you
I'm like
shy?
walking here. Yeah, no, okay. When it's like not people I'm comfortable with, I'm pretty shy. So like Frankie's like, hey, let's just go in. Because the design, what was the area called?
Design fair.
Design fair was like closed off in the time that I got there, and it opens at 12. I think I got there around 11:40. So we were about to walk in, and then the lady who was kind of blocking off the door, she was just like, oh, like you guys can't come in. Design fair is not open until 12. And then I was like, oh, okay. And I was like about to walk away, and Frankie's like, oh, we with the future. And I was like,
Frankie did yesterday.
And he's like, yeah, we're with the future guys, And he's just like, oh, but you don't seem to have that on your name. He's like, oh, this is my business. I just want to use my business name because you were going to come with my business. And she's like, and then she looked at my badge and she's like, oh, boy, he has the future on it. He's like, oh, I remember you. And then my name says like Aaron Selesky, right? And I'm like, this is not an Asian name. And she looked at me and she's like, yeah, I remember you. And I'm like, I just sat there, like I grabbed my card and I kind of like flipped it. I was like, oh yeah. And then after she was like, yeah, you guys can get in, because she's like a really nice lady. She's like, oh yeah, you guys can come in. And then I walked in and I was like, hey man, that was kind of racist, wasn't it? she like looked at me and she's like, I remember you. I'm like pretty sure she probably saw like Mark or like Chris and just thought like we're all the same guy.
Yeah, dude. I was like, just let him in. I don't have to go in. Just let him in. He's got to go with his boys. She's like, no, you guys can go in. She's like, I remember you. I was like, lady, come on.
Yeah. But I mean, either way, we could have.
Maybe she watches the stream, guys.
We could have argued against him. We're like, yeah, well.
She was like, oh, you guys are those dudes from SemiPros. Oh my God. Can I get a picture?
And then she's like, wait, aren't you Eric? You're not Aaron. No. I just wrote it wrong.
It was actually really embarrassing. We had like people coming up to us like, oh my God, you guys are the SemiPros. Like,
no, he's lying.
Yeah,
but people did walk up to me and he's like,
you guys are the SemiPros. Where's Dad at?
I walked around the design fair and I was like looking at stuff because they had one for like abstract or just like random companies that come and kind of like talk about the product. And every time I talk to someone, they're like, oh, nice to meet you, Aaron. And I'm like, yes, that's my name.
Aaron from the future. That's
me.
Dude, actually, so the SCAD had a booth over there and I met my professor for next semester for the summer. She was like, I was like, yeah, I'm at SCAD online. She was like, oh, what are you taking? And I told her like whatever. She was like, oh, what are you taking this summer? She's like, yeah, you're registered with me. I was like, oh, cool. Like snapped a selfie and I was like, don't forget this. Like, I don't fail.
And you stole a bunch of permanent markers.
So you guys get any people from the conference to come on our show?
I tried to get Michael Beirut.
Yeah, we asked Michael Beirut. He wasn't interested at all.
Guy's a dick.
He's usually really open with everyone.
I don't know.
Nah,
you guys know how I feel about Pentagram, so like I don't want him on the show.
I thought you loved Pentagram.
Man,
I didn't even know he worked for Pentagram, to be honest with you.
Well, you thought he was Sidemeister.
Oh, does he not there? Is he not there anymore?
Dude, I don't know.
He was, though, right?
With any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, dude, design world is nonsense. We're not talking about that stuff. But hey, Frankie, how was the conference?
Yeah. Okay. So the conference, it was good, man. There was some really smart people there. And I think they did a fairly decent job with spreading out like the love, right? Like it wasn't very heavy in one area. There was a lot of different things that you could go to and different things that you could learn. One thing though that did kind of screw me up was I think the organization. Maybe it was just me, like I didn't get it, but I was kind of confused about what was going on when, like what you had to be pre-registered for, because some of the stuff was going on. It was cool, but it was like you had to pay extra, and now I only paid like 4.5 or something because I got a student rate and I did like an early bird registration. But like said and done, the tickets were like, I don't know, somewhere around like $1,300, like to go to this conference.
I think
1,500.
Yeah, if
so
you don't have
somewhere around there, full price, and that's not counting parking, lodging, plus if you're going to pre-register for any of those workshops, then that's more money. I was like, man, I don't know. I'll tell you, just for me, like as an individual, not being sent by a company, having to foot the bill for everything, I don't know if I would have paid that or if I would have been happy paying that for like the entire conference. That's just me, my personal opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I had any inkling that I would get a free ticket from Chris, like if I had even a thought of asking about that, I probably would have like flown down and I would have paid for Airbnb too. It's just that ticket price was insane.
Yeah.
You could have stayed with me, man.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, I paid $51 for my ticket, and I'm still like, no, I'm serious. But like, even at $51 for like, let's say 1/4 of a day, I was still kind of thinking in my head, like negotiating with myself, thinking like, was that really worth it? Because like, I didn't do anything.
Was small.
Yeah, like it was just like,
so it just wasn't that great in general.
It was the size of like 1/4 of like a frankincense. If you guys know what that looks like.
I don't know what that is.
What are you talking about?
It's like the size of it's like 2 Chipotles.
Oh,
yeah.
So this is kind of something. This is kind of something that was burning in my mind too. So Mario just brought up a good question, right? He was saying, I would love to hear your thoughts on how you think AIGA is serving the design community or not. And I was actually walking around asking people, other members, what they thought of the AIGA, because here in San Diego, I'm on the board, but we're actually starting, like, at least within our own little chapter, an initiative to make it more effective, because we're missing the mark every time. We're not reaching our community or creatives. And we should be, right? We're a community of creatives, and we're not doing any of it. And I just volunteer, so I get it. But and everybody that I talked to, at least for me, they weren't, like, there was something lacking. You know, like they weren't completely fulfilled by the organization, or, you know, however they got there. It wasn't just the event. It's just like what they were getting out of AIGA, or what they weren't getting out of it. So like, how many of you guys actually have experience? Like, were you ever members or like anything like that?
I'm still a member.
Are you a member?
Yeah, I'm a member.
I only have a secondhand account because I talked to my friend Peter Del Tondo, and my other friend Andrew, and they were both saying like it's not really worth it. Because I asked Peter, I was like, hey, should I get into like the AIGA chapter for Orange County? And he said like the last time that he was a part of it, I think on one of the events they just took them to like a print shop, like a random print shop, and that was like the thing. And he was like, it almost feels like they're not making much of an effort, so it wasn't worth it for him. And so I just thought like, well, if that's the sentiment that's like going around, because it doesn't seem like anyone else is going against that reigning like feeling about it, then maybe I don't want to be a part of it. Because I really did think like, oh, maybe I should get plugged into the design community, but it feels like the future community was a lot more worth it. And we don't even meet in person, right?
Yeah, like just from somebody who's been like, I've been a designer for 15 years, but I never got into any of the culture of it, never had any friends in it, never went to any events that had to do with it. And AIGA, for me, from the outside, it seems like this like old school, like kind of stuffy kind of group of people. Like, I don't even know what the people even look like. Like, I just see like AIGA like this, almost like an award that you would buy and put on your wall or something, you know, to just be like, yeah, I'm a designer, check that box off. Yeah, I'm in the AIGA, check that box off, you know.
Like highbrow.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And it seems like Yeah, it seems like they're taking what they were and trying to turn it into something else. It's not really working. Whereas the future,
like you'd wear a scarf in 73-degree weather.
Oh man, if only I understood the joke. If only you would
No,
tell the
you
reference
do.
to the joke.
Does it provide some kind of like accreditation though, or some kind of stamp of approval to say that you are a professional?
I mean,
Other highbrow people.
I guess it could, but let's look at the stamp of approval. Like $50, and you're like a contributing member.
So there's no qualifications other than paying the fee.
No, you pay.
I looked it up. You could just pay. You could be a sustaining member for even more, 150, I think.
And like I joined the board, like, and it was pretty cool. Even I was talking to Chris about that. He was like, "Damn, like, how did you get on the board?" And I kind of told him how, and he was like, "That really doesn't happen, man. Like, I don't know if things changed or whatever." Because Chris was on the board in Los Angeles a while back, but it was kind of like, I think I can't speak for him why he left or whatever, but I don't know what happened there. I think they're trying to like link up again now, because the future stuff is getting traction. But I know for us in San Diego, Mike, I think you hit a lot of that on the head, and that was a lot of what I was hearing at the conference. It's like if you ask people, hey, what is the AIGA? Like people that aren't really associated with it, some of them don't know, and the rest of them think, for the most part, it's a place for like old crusty like designers, right? And I joined because I don't mean that like negatively, but seriously, that's like
you're right. That's not negative at all.
It's the raw feedback I got, man. And if the friggin' truth hurts, dude, like suck it up, Buttercup, right?
I love when people call me old and crusty. It's like my favorite compliment.
You're just salty. You're salty about the hat, dude.
Well, Mario was saying it's a business write-off basically, but there's a lot of other things you can write off stuff for your business if it's not worth it, right?
I think Zach's trying to.
So Mike's bringing up some good stuff too, man. No, go ahead, Zach.
Well, I was going to say, just with AIG, I think you guys are hitting some important points. Like, I think, Michael, you brought up, like, they went to a print shop and, like, I think they kind of missed the boat on, like, the web digital kind of rise in design. And I think they're trying to catch up now. I still think they have a long way to go. That's kind of the impression I have when I hang out with AIGA people, is that kind of web is still kind of like a weird thing to them. They are very rooted in print and traditional like branding media. That being said, I do think they're leading a charge in a lot of ways when it comes to diversity in design and inclusivity in design, bringing in people of multiple ethnicities, especially women, and getting them larger roles, across agencies, across companies. So I think they're still creating a lot of positive impact, especially in those areas, but they are definitely feeling outdated in a lot of areas as well. That's my experience anyway.
And they're lighting up the chat a little bit. And this is Joe. I found this too, right? If you go on the AIGA website and you dig, there's a ton of like actual resources, like contracts you can pull up, information. Exactly. But you kind of have to dig it. And like, to me, there's a problem with the narrative, right? The messaging, the communication. Like if we don't understand that, that's their problem. That's not our problem, right? They want people to get, and it's a nonprofit or whatever. It's an organization. It's volunteer. But at the end of the day, like if you want to be successful, then people have to know kind of like what you're doing and how you're doing it. So that's what was motivating us in San Diego, because we do this cool stuff, right? And we're trying. Breakfast club, every Saturday or every other one Saturday a month, or like elbow rub one day a month, and you go and you meet some local creatives and stuff. And I've been to those, and there's value. You do meet some cool people, and I think it's a good way to get plugged into your local community. Like I wouldn't have known some of these like higher up people in my community in the design space if I had not joined the AIGA, but there's nothing that told me that. It just happened to show up and figure that out. So
it's like you get what you put in, right?
Well, like that's anything,
Yeah,
exactly.
But at the same time, we're not telling that story. It doesn't look cool. Like the graphic that we put up, and we're like, come have breakfast. We're going to have this conversation and this and this and that. And depending if the event is a draw at a place that people want to go, they'll go. But I think some things are well underplayed, and I think we could be doing better as well for just telling people what they're going to get out of it, right? Not just out of the event, but out of the organization.
It just feels like I'm looking at their website right now. Like there's no information about what they even do. It just says that they do like professional. It's a professional association for design, but it's like if I just came here because like I don't know, I don't know what they're trying to do. Like what's the mission statement or like what value does it bring me in? I think we live in a day and age where if people don't see the value in something or it's not obvious to them, they're not going to risk like their money or their time on it. The only reason why the AAJ is able to do what they're doing right now and have these conferences is just because of legacy, right? But if they don't like move away from that and kind of like realize that they need to provide value up front and make it obvious, then I feel like they're going to start, struggling a lot more, even more than they are right now.
Well, tell me too, like maybe I'm being, and I guess Eric, don't tell me because I know what you're going to say, but everyone else that's not Eric, I'm of the mind, like maybe I'm being like overcritical, and I get it, man, because my website sucks and like I'm not positioned, but I can admit that. But as a community of creatives, I feel like the design period, like we could be doing a little better also, because like that's one of the first things that I look at, right? This is a community for designers, like the graphics that are coming out and how things are kind of like structured and organized. And the first thing I saw was that like square, that
I
like
remember
oblique or like italicized. I don't know if it's italic or oblique, but like the lettering, and that I think contributes to some of that like legacy, like writing, like I equate that to like that story of like, I threw that touchdown pass in high school and now you're 35 and you got your Letterman jacket on and you're still hanging out telling everybody about that touchdown pass you threw.
It's more like you won a championship, in the NBA, one championship, and now you're just riding off the high for like the next 50 years.
That one
like
time.
The impact of it, you know what I mean? Because the impact that they had back then is probably like very significant, but it's just starting to wane right now.
And I'm not taking anything away from the organization.
Pivot, baby.
I'm not taking anything away from the organization, but nobody cares what, like really, I'm not saying nobody, but at least for young creatives, people that want to get value, they don't want to hear about what you did 10 years ago. They're going to respect it and commend you for it. But if you can't do anything for me now, today, tomorrow, next week, like where does that put us?
We got Dot Lung in the chat. A true celebrity on the social media.
What's up, Dot? Oh God.
Hey, wait, actually, can I take a break right now? We're halfway through this. Could I get the 23 people watching this to hit like and possibly, dare I say, share it? Maybe your mom will watch it, or your girlfriend or wife, husband, and that'll be one more number on our little dial, and it'll make us feel really cool.
Tell your barber, your plumber,
yeah, because we're tired as shit, and we don't really, this is hard to be on here, but we want to get on here to try to make something, right? We're trying to build something ourselves.
I think we don't even know what we want to do with this. Like,
but we're having a lot of fun doing it. We're getting a lot from it. And I feel like every time we hang up this call, every time 10 rolls around or whenever we decide to cut out, we cut the stream. We just kind of sit on here for half an hour and laugh and joke around. It feels good to know that,
I go to bed.
We had Zach is asleep. With Zach goes to bed.
Go to bed, man.
Yeah, we tuck Zach in, and then we have the real conversation. But it's super fun. Like, I don't know, it feels amazing to have this many people watching and interacting.
Speaking of, who wants to come on? Mo came on last week, right? And Julian.
Yeah, we'd love to have an extra voice.
Dot's asking us why you do what you do.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, Michael.
Like our group?
The group?
Like our entire group, or just individually?
I think she's talking about the group.
I think she's talking about the group.
All right.
Really, for us. So for us, for me, this is just organically happened, right? Like we all linked up with each other and we started talking and we started solving each other's problems. And it just so happened that we didn't really want to work in a vacuum. And the more people that we talked to, the more people were like, man, this is really helping. So we figured we don't want to keep it to ourselves, but we also positioned ourselves as not necessarily experts. We're not dummies, but we're like you, like we're not so far away that you can't touch us. You don't have to put like your best face and your presentation on. You can throw all the likes and ums in your conversation that you want. Just be comfortable and let's have a conversation, because every time we do, every one of us ends up being better for it.
So I actually found exactly the position that we kind of come off as. So
after I struggle through that, you want to come out.
Yeah, no, because
Totally.
So,
He's got a plaque made. It's like
Actually,
I was wondering why, like, from my perspective, it's like, why does people want to even talk, like, listen to me talk, right? It's like I'm just a regular dude, right? But
I ask myself that every day.
Yeah, I
imposter
listen to
syndrome.
I listened to a podcast called The Starters, and they talk about sports. They talk about NBA, like basketball and stuff, and it's just literally the same setup. It's like 5 guys talking about basketball and just how they feel about it.
Yeah,
but it's like the most fun thing, right? Yeah, it's so fun to listen to, and I just
got Zach excited.
Yeah, I just thought like this is like great. No, but it almost feels like you're part of their conversation just from listening in, and I think that's kind of the
Do
thing
you guys
that we're
feel like
hitting
you're
at.
part of this conversation?
Yeah, and I think that there's something to that. But in terms of what we want to do, I think there's a voice that isn't being spoken in terms of, because we have like the future group and all these other kind of resources in terms of if you want to learn how to design or like learn how to do business, but we don't really talk about like the nuances of just life as a creative or life as a businessman, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're trying to kind of meet that middle ground.
You guys aren't alone.
It's not to say like the future, like I know people have not complained, but there's some grumbles, right? And it's like, you got to have your shit together when you talk to Chris, right? You have to. I know, like, I was like the whole last couple of days with that guy, and like anytime I said anything, like he made me think, like I'm talking like galaxies away. I was like, he's so friggin' smart, dude. Like, it's just like resonates with me deeply, and like I love the guy. He's so smart, but I'm not that smart, And like sometimes I think that that's somewhat appealing. Not to say that I'm an idiot, but like it almost leaves me with more questions sometimes. So this is like a good place, I think, to hit before you're about to go ask that really big question. Come and ask a couple small ones, We got Dad.
It's like I'm gonna ask Chris a question. Do you guys think it's dumb? Hey, remember that one girl?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, no.
If she's listening,
was,
we don't want to say anything like mean
I don't
about
remember
it.
her
That was
name
a
or anything.
bad question, man.
Yeah, that was horrible. The one where she just said, "Give me some tips."
No.
No.
Chris gave her like 7 books or something to read, right?
Yeah.
She's like, so are you going to remind me about this later? All those books you just told me about? And she's really innocent though. And I talked to her after that, and she like, she's totally cool. She's a super cool girl.
No, it was a nerves thing. It was it was definitely a nerves thing, but still damn. I wonder if she like took the mic and was like, I'm ready to go, or if someone was like, you're next, and then she just was like, oh God. Ooh. But man, having a clear question for somebody who you respect, and when you're taking their time up and everything else, it really goes a long way. Like it could go one way and you look like a total idiot, and it could go the other way and you could make a nice contact out of it. Who knows? But
yeah,
it's really hard.
We talked about this last week, and this was actually something that came up on the day I was at yesterday, the live stream. Like asking questions is a skill and art, and that kind of goes like under the radar. And I bring that up too because I think a pattern that I noticed when people talk to Chris is that they want to like tell a very long story before asking the question.
The context.
They have to give all of this context rather than just like asking questions. And I feel that, and they even talked about this. There was a speaker, I can't remember her name. She at the conference, she talked about asking questions could really make a difference between the kind of level of designer you are. Mm-hmm. And I think like that just kind of that's one pattern I kind of noticed in a lot of the calls we participate in the future, and even yesterday, during the live stream when he was talking to some people, they just asking questions is a challenge. And I mean, I'm learning to ask better questions all the time too. I'm not saying I'm already there, but it's just something I've observed.
I think there's also like this pressure that they feel to make a good question come up so that Chris will look at them and be like, wow, this guy's insightful. I want to be friends with him. Like there's some golden question out there that you can ask, and then Chris will just be like, damn, I just want to be friends with you. Like, here's my personal phone number. Like that.
And then you go up there and you're like, Chris, give tip
Nah, but if you hang out with him for 3 days, you will get a hat.
That's true.
F you.
That's true. Unfortunately, my head is way too big for any.
Wait,
hats.
Zach didn't hang out for 3 days. He just went there for 1 day and he
It's
got a
'cause his
hat.
beard, dude.
I was there for like 4 hours.
The beard,
Yeah.
it speeds up time.
Well, what did you guys all learn from this lesson?
Which
Or
one?
from
What
this scenario.
lesson?
The IGA getting in for $51 or getting in for free.
Oh, if you ask for a hat, then he'll
Yes.
probably give it to you.
If you
But-
ask,
Yep.
better chances of getting what you want than
It's
if you
true.
don't
That
ask.
Yeah.
Yes,
You did
absolutely.
more than one time, Dave. Yes.
This,
Absolutely.
I come from first generation, like imported from Korea, man. Like we are trained to not ask. You know, David.
Sounds like a big excuse to me, bro.
I got a good story.
Yeah.
When I met Chris in Bend, well, when I met him face to face for the first time, he was speaking there, so that was one of the main reasons why I went. And Rachel was there too. I was hanging out with Rachel all day, and we were sitting in the crowd. Chris went on, did his thing, and I was there to see him. I was there to meet him. Like that was my goal. So whenever he was in the crowd with us, he was sitting, watching the other people with us. So whenever somebody else would go on or there was a lull and we could move around, I would just make a beeline for him because I'm like and I just stand next to him and he'd be talking to people and people would beat me there, talking to people. I just kind of stand around, wait. And then finally, after waiting for a while, he knew I was there. He's very like self-aware. He's very mindful of what's going on around him. And after he had his back to me and he just went, okay, yeah, all right, I'll talk to you later. He just turned around and pointed at me and he was just like, let's go to lunch. Where do you want to go? Find something on your phone and let's go. And then he turned back around. And he's like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, fuck. And then, yeah, it was just like, that's how the whole thing was. I ended up going to lunch with him, ended up going to dinner with him a couple times. And it was just because I was putting myself in the right place, not overstepping bounds or not. I'd like to think that I didn't, but you got to know what you want. You can't be scared to go for it and kind of, maybe push a couple people out of the way,
Hey, Mike, have you ever hit up Draplin?
Me?
Ooh.
Yeah, because
No,
you're in the
absolutely
area.
not.
Why, dude? I hit up Draplin.
What? I don't know much about him, to be honest with you.
No, yeah, but then like I just kind of, so what happened was my girlfriend went to get me a gift from the Field Notes store, and then they were sold out. So we sent him an email to his personal email, and then we said like, oh, you don't have this product in stock. Do you know if I can get it? And then he responded to her, and then he was like, yeah. Like he's super nice guy. He like went into his like personal storage to see if there's any like leftovers, and he managed to find one and he sent it off to us. But after that, no, I didn't get to meet him yet, but after that she was just basically like, oh, like let's we're gonna go up to Portland, so like will you ever be free, like can we meet up for lunch? And I think he would have been down, but he's just in a different like state in that period of time. And I was just thinking like, if I lived in Oregon, like, and someone like that was around where like Draplin's a really good dude, right? And he just like gives stuff away. Like I would totally hit him up, man.
Well, I'd like to know more about him to know if like, anything.
Oh, I could give you his email. That's all you need.
I don't think that's what Michael was on.
I know, I get what Mike's saying.
I just don't want to be like, hey, I heard you're nice and cool and you give something.
From
No,
your-
like I want to see, what maybe we could give him some sort of value as well, right?
Yeah.
I'll
Because
hit him
I'm
up.
sure
Hit him up.
if
Canvas
he's anything
strategy.
like you guys are making him sound like, he kind of sounds like he would fit into this group, right? Because this whole thing is that he's what is this whole thing? He's unlike
It's
any
like
other.
proud of like not having the traditional like design.
Yeah,
He's like
he
the
just-
everyman.
Down to earth
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
The everyman, sure. There you go.
The ultimate everyman designer.
That's kind of what we are,
You could pull
right?
it straight out of the archetypes book, bro.
Kind of be. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're
Right.
trying to be, which makes us even more true to the cause.
But I don't think like if Draplin got an email from you, like he would be looking at it and be like, this guy's just trying to get free shit from me. It just how
Well,
you
that's
come
because
off.
I would ask Frankie to write the email for me.
Yeah, I would write it.
Dude,
And I would
Yeah.
call him.
Frankie was ready to track down Beirut yesterday.
What's up?
You were ready to like track down Beirut, and you were ready to like, dude, I'm getting him on the show, man.
Yeah, I would have got him.
Let's get
problem.
let's try to get Draplin on the show. Maybe we could get him on for like 10 minutes or something.
Man, I would love to get Draplin on the show. He's such a cool dude. I haven't even met him.
What's Dot doing?
Let's make a video, the 5 of us on here, asking him to go on, and we'll send it to him.
Yeah. Oh, he's probably watching right now.
And the crowd.
It's like, hey, Aaron Draplin, if you ever have a Sunday open, please come on the show. And thank you for the field.
Sunday at 9 p.m. It's really
Sunday at 9
Everybody
p.m.
has
PST.
Sunday at 9 p.m. open.
Yeah, don't kid yourself, man. You're free.
Even dads.
I'll tell you what though. Going back to the act thing, right? That was like a big. So a lot of people came up to the booth after Chris gave the hats out, and they were like, "Man, like I didn't know you were gonna like give the hat. You know, like I missed it, or man, I wish you had some more."
Like, this sounds like everything I said to you later.
Yeah, pretty much. And Chris, like as calculated as he is, used that as like another teaching lesson, right? He's like, yeah, well, if you had known in the first place, right, why didn't you just get up and go up? Because you were late. That is on you. And it's like this whole message of acting, right? Like act on it. So there would be people, literally, I started watching people and they would be outside the booth, right? And then, oh, snap, is that Dot?
Oh, it's Dot. She made it on.
Oh, man.
Oh,
What's up?
Wait, finish your story and then we'll.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, as soon as Draplin hops on, then I'm gonna be like, oh snap. Yeah, so people would be standing there and they wouldn't like come up to Chris. And I'm like, hey, yeah, you want to talk to Chris? And they're like, I'm like, come over here, just talk to him.
Yeah, dude, that's how everybody was.
They'd come up and Chris would be like, hey, what's your name? Like, what's going on? Like, he's very approachable.
And they
like,
would just cry.
Almost like if you're a pro member, like you actually like think Chris is like gonna like jump down your throat, right? Because like the pro calls or whatever, but he's like so not like that, bro. He's really not. And like, but all these people stand there and like they're gonna miss a chance to talk to him or whoever because they didn't actually want to make that first step. I'll tell you what though, nobody went up to Ben Burns, who also hates Mike.
Yeah, I know.
And me.
Nah, he doesn't hate you, dude. Ben just does not look approachable. He's a teddy bear.
He's the nicest guy.
Hi, Dot.
We have Dot, the
guys.
social media dragon.
Thanks for hopping on.
Hello.
So where are you?
what's
In
crazy?
Tel Aviv?
So this is my first time watching SemiPros live, and I guess it's my first time on.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is only our third show. So.
Oh, awesome. So I made it. I'm an early adopter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you can even be on this show because you're actually a pro, so I don't know if this actually works out. This might ruin the
No,
whole show.
I mean, it's so, I love the name of the show because, you know, I don't know, I put out this post and I was like, is every guru in the world on the internet just calling themselves, you know, like a pro guru, but you guys are semi-pros, so you guys have much more credibility than anyone else out there that's actually calling them a real pro, because you just don't know who to believe anymore.
Don't believe us
on the web, because mostly people are just self-proclaimed pros. So I don't like calling myself a guru or a ninja or whatever. I'm just the mother of social media dragons, and I help creative people take over the world using Instagram and Facebook. And so I just wanted to come in and say good morning to everyone. It's almost 8 o'clock here in Israel. I just moved here about a few weeks ago from Barcelona. And yeah, I just wanted to support the creative community because my story is that, you know, growing up first generation Asian American, as a couple of you guys know, we weren't, at least in my family, we weren't really allowed to study creativity or be an artist or do design, because the best thing that could ever happen to you if you wanted to become a graphic designer was, oh, maybe you're gonna own a print shop when you get older. At least that's what my mom told me. It's like, oh, why are you playing around in this like Photoshop thing? You're just gonna become, the best thing you can do is become, own a Kinko's, like, that'll be a huge success for you. And so I've always grown up wanting to be creative, and it was something that, I wasn't really allowed to do. I went into selling medical devices after college because that would make me a ton of money, and I was extremely unhappy. And you know what? At the end of the day, I escaped life in California. I went to Barcelona. I've been pursuing my creative dream in Barcelona for the last 8 years. And now I just moved to Israel. And I guess what I want to say is, if you have even the, audacity and the bravery and the courage to, do creative work, like, you should be goddamn proud of yourself, because it is not easy to be creative, because we're naturally introverts and shy people. So to even like put your portfolio out there or your work out there, it takes a lot of courage. And doing like a show like this live on video, which video is like one of my worst fears, by the way, it
That's
takes
hilarious.
a lot of courage. So I just wanted to be here to say, to be in the space to say congratulations. And this is, I think this is the start of something. And there's like 30 people watching on Facebook for 45 minutes. Like, that's kind of a big deal. So congrats to Dishman for, starting this kind of safe space for everyone to, have, a couple minutes. So,
and, actually, obviously I noticed Dot doing all these crazy conventions and her social media. She looks like, she's a super professional when it comes to social media and all this kind of stuff. So I hit her up on the DMs and asked her, humbly, I hope, like, if you have any time at all, please tell me like what I should do. And she just listed out one night. It was like 3:00 in the morning. It was probably a normal time for you. Like, you got to do 2 lives a week. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this at the beginning of your video and this at the end of your video. And I just took all the notes I could and tried to implement it immediately. And that's, I think, kind of where the whole live thing started, where I was like, guys, we got to do live. And they were like, okay, whatever.
I said, go live every day. Do one live video every day. I mean, honestly, if you put in the work of what I say to do, it works, because it's basically a formula. But most people aren't going to put in the work. They're not doing the daily grind. I mean, it depends what your objective is, but for you, I can see where you're trying to go, and you're trying to, create a movement. You're trying to make people laugh. You want to build community, and to build community, you need to put yourself out there, and you have what it takes. It's every day doing, putting in the time. It's like literally social media is like going to the gym. Like, you're not going to get that 6-pack in time for summer if you don't put in the time.
Yep. And the time sucks, people. The putting in the time sucks, but it's so
every day is leg day.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, going live every day is really hard. I definitely don't do live every day, but I did start doing lives on my Instagram on the way to work in the car. And I feel like that's a really good way to just kind of, it's live, so you can kind of say whatever you want to say. You have a certain amount of time because you're in the car from your house to your job. It's like 10, 15 minutes, whatever. Hopefully it's not longer than that for everybody else. But yeah, it's a good little challenge to give yourself. And maybe people could use that. But yeah, it's been great.
To clarify, challenge as in going live. Don't challenge yourself to drive and go live if you can't handle it. Because we're
just
not
get a little magnetic mount. You point the camera at you, hit live, and you just drive, dude. Don't touch
just
the
out of curiosity, since I just joined, do you guys mind like reintroducing yourselves to myself and the audience, for maybe some people that have just joined on the live, to kind of give a little intro to, like, that's what I meant earlier, but like, so, what's everybody's mission? Like, what are you guys working on? And kind of just a 1 minute like intro.
All right, I'm going to go first because me and my wife were just talking about this like a half an hour ago. And I think I discovered my why from the Simon Sinek book like 10 minutes ago. No, I guess now it's been like 50 minutes ago. But I think my why, which hopefully doesn't change because it kind of determines everything that I do and all my content, but is designers shouldn't be order takers. We should be the people that, are out at the council of decision making, using our brains to do the critical thinking to, decide what should happen, as opposed to here's this thing, here's your instructions, XYZ, you know, it's blue, it's red, it's green, it's this big, please just go build it. That's really, if that's what you're using your designer as, you are not getting the value out of that person. And if they don't know this kind of mindset, you know, they're never going to know until it clicks one day. But yeah, if you can take the designers you have, if you can use them in that way, they will be extremely happy. They will feel fulfilled. They will feel like they're doing what they need to do with the world, and they're going to give you and themselves and the world so much more value than they ever could have just taking design orders. So I think that's mine. How about you, Frankie?
Yeah, I saw your post the other day. I shared it because I was like, this is it. This is exactly, you know, like creative people need to have a seat at the table. They are leading. The reason why I support creative so much, and like designers are literally my most favorite people on earth, because designers are literally building the future. And this is why I want creative people and designers to take over the world, because I want to build a better future, you know, as a collaborative, you know, task with everyone. And it's, and designers and creatives are the leaders of that. And so I shared your post yesterday because I totally agree with you. So thanks for sharing.
Yes. How about you? How about you guys? Somebody else go.
I'll go. I'm Eric. Nice to meet you.
Eric Shaw.
Yeah, I'm a designer, but I'm moving more towards like strategy and consultation lately. I think my why is I want to help creative people be happier being creative. Because there's something weird about where I noticed that I decided to do art and I decided to make like all this, you know, cool illustrations and stuff when I was younger, because I just had a lot of fun doing it. And I think when you're in high school and stuff, you feel really left out if you're kind of like one of those art kids and you're like more introverted. So you just have your own little circle of friends and your art to kind of like go back to. But somewhere along the line, it became a service job. And you just kind of start doing what other people tell you to do, like Mike was saying, and you become an order taker. And it kind of like dilutes the amount of joy that you had for the craft initially. And so I don't know how I would accomplish this, but from my experience, I went through a pretty, you know, vicious like 6-7 years where I didn't do anything creatively for myself. And I just kind of shut myself off to the design world and worked like really crappy, not related to my skill set jobs. Yeah. And I just realized at the end of it, the reason why I wasn't enjoying my work was because I wasn't looking at it with the right perspective. And anytime that you do design work, you know, you can have a lot of fun doing it, even if it is for like a really shitty client, or if like the product sucks. Like part of the joy is in trying to find out a way to make it fun, you know, like how would other people enjoy it? And I think when I started shifting my lens and looking at my work a little bit differently, like that joy started coming back. And I want to just take all that crap that I learned in that depressing area of my life and try to condense it down to something where I could share it to people and hopefully like help other people out. Yeah. Lofty dreams.
So you're saying, your why is you want to take all the lessons that you've learned and just try to save people that heartache from the beginning of their careers? Or
I think it's just to give context for a lot of the crap that you deal with, because even if I share it, let's be honest, if you're like 21, 22 coming out of college and someone's telling you like, here's some advice for your life, how much of it are you actually, you know, kind of internalizing?
Well, I think it depends on how you give the advice, but
yeah. I mean, it also depends on the person who's trying to receive it. But I think it's just, I just feel like there's a lot of precautionary stuff that I wish I would have known. And not everything is like, oh, here's how you prepare a proposal deck, or, you know, here's like a pitch that you could send out. Some of it is just emotional, man. Like, how do I deal with getting my work rejected? Or how do I position myself better so that doesn't happen as often?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Frankie.
I'm Frankie, right?
Frankie.
Yeah.
I
You
think
guys
I
got me
added
still?
you on Facebook because like, oh, this guy looks cool. But you guys
Then-
are all like,
then that was
you guys are
definitely
all, like,
me.
part of like the Chris Doe like tribe, right? Like everyone here is like a Chris Doe.
We're the sons of Doe, yeah.
Nah,
Yeah, exactly.
We're the doers.
Chris. No, yeah, no. Okay, so I'm Frankie. I don't think I look that cool, but thank you.
A liar.
Handsome son of a bitch.
No, for me, I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I'm not positioned, and there's a lot of things that I think I've fallen victim to the classic, like help everybody else and you focus on yourself last, right? And I think we all fall victim to that. Unlike Mike and Eric, though, I don't think I'm necessarily like keen on just creatives, right? Really what I'm good at is creative, call it strategy, solutions, whatever. Like I put pieces together and I think I'm really good at connecting dots and building systems. So I can identify things as they are and find a more efficient way to do it, or I can build a system ground up, whether that's a visual system or, something that is more of an experience-driven system and really help people that are facing these intimidating like circumstances. Like, man, how do I get to here and I'm over here? Like, well, I help them build those little steps in that path in a more manageable way that's going to yield them the results that they want. So I know that was a little long-winded, but that's really what I want to focus on through design.
Yeah. I wish I had sound effects. I gotta get sound effects next time, guys.
That sounds so cool. That's so amazing.
Oh,
I
it's
gotta get the soundboard.
it's in the works. Does it sound complicated? Then I really need to clarify my message because
I think you should break it down to like 2 sentences, especially when you explain what you do. You need to be able to explain what you do in 2 sentences.
Dude, that's so
just
hard.
for the purpose of like putting it on your like LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And that's like your mission statement, right? Like, so that I think what you did there was you explained exactly like what you do and like a little bit of how you kind of do it by like, you connect the dots, you like put everything together. But like, I think what we were talking about is like, so what is your like vision? Like what's your why? Like so why are you doing this? Right?
Just so you know, me and Dot had this conversation in DMs where I would answer her and she'd be like, yeah, okay, that's great. But what is your why though? I'm like, well, it's this. She's like, okay, yeah, right. But what is your
what's
why?
your why?
And it's so true.
A little better. Just to make them a little better than they were, right? Make things a little easier.
Yeah, and what motivates you to make things better? Like I love design is so important to me because we're like all anal as hell and like we all have OCD. Because like, why does beauty is really important to you? Like, aesthetics. What is it? I guess.
Why do I want to make things easier?
Like why? So why do you do what you do? Like, so you're an amazing, designer, and what makes you?
No, SemiPro.
SemiPro. So what makes you like go to become a pro? Like you're still in the process of becoming pro. Like what's driving you?
I think I just have this innate, like if you're asking me personally, like an elitist mindset. I don't like to be like, I hate my own mortality. I don't want to realize like if I'm getting older or if I can't do something as well as I could have a year ago. So I think I'm always striving just to hit that next goal, right? To just, if I'm good now, tomorrow I can be better. And I think it's just I want to learn as much as I can and improve myself and everybody around me as high as I can take them and as far as I can take them. And if I don't get there today, then I get tomorrow and the next day and then the next week until I don't.
So your core has something to do with like building up something, like building up.
It's like this yin and yang almost, right? Like if I do something good, right, and you see it and you're like, wow, that's awesome, man. It's going to force you in some way to want to meet that or exceed that, right? And then I'm going to see that, and then I'm going to have to level my game up, whether or not you want to do it or you're forced to do it because now you have to compete with me. Either way, it's causing everyone to level their game up in one way or another. So it's going to push the needle forward for today, for tomorrow, for the next generation. Hopefully that we keep getting better.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And you should share that.
I'll have to watch this again.
That's what
yes.
you're striving for.
It sounds like to me, maybe this is like another way to look at it, but I always tell people the more uncomfortable you are, the more you push yourself to do something uncomfortable, not like, if you're uncomfortable in pain from an injury or something, but if you're scared to do something, like go on a video, that's the number one thing people are pretty scared of doing. Push yourself to do it. And every time you do it, you'll become better. So maybe it has something, maybe it has a little something to do with that. Maybe like constantly pushing yourself into the unknown to grow and to get that awesome feeling that you did it over and over again.
Yeah, but I'm really content. Like when I do something, I forget about it. Like I don't look back last week and I was like, man, I did that really good last week, and high five myself over it. Like I'm over it. I'm on to the next thing.
You're the next.
Yeah.
Well, you're lucky, dude. A lot of people need to remember those little wins to keep going.
No way, man.
Frankie's definitely driven. Frankie's definitely drives a lot of us in this group, I would say. When we're feeling down and shitty, which happens to me a lot. Putting out all the content that I put out, it's like this all the time. And when I get low, I'm like, dude, Frankie, I feel like shit. And he's like, come on, brother. Like, come on. So it definitely helps. All right, Zach.
Yes. My name is Zach, and I'm a product strategist and designer, focusing on user experience for the most part. And I do what I do because I believe that we're living in a very exciting time for design and creativity. And I think, Dot, you kind of spoke to this earlier, that this is an opportunity for designers in this current time to make a real impact on how things are done and how things operate in this world. The most exciting jobs I get to do maybe involves government, health, finance, working with hospitals, and I bring all that up because, again, I do think design is making a wonderful impact in today's community, or in communities, I should say, and I feel very privileged to be a part of that.
That's absolutely. UX designers, and I mean all designers, especially in UX, you're literally creating what like 8 hours a day using, which is our mobile phones and all these apps, and it's literally what human experience in 2019. So
right.
Thank you for doing that.
That's like I said.
That's awesome.
You, Zach.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
You did it.
Thank you, Zach.
That's an excellent answer.
Thank you,
Zach.
I love you. I love all y'all. SemiPros for life.
Don't stare into his beard for too long,
love.
though.
I know. Hi, Dave. You're up.
I'm affectionately known as Dad in this group because I'm the older one.
Dad.
Well, you certainly don't look older.
I know, right? He's another handsome man.
We discovered this because I actually didn't know how old these guys were when I joined the group. I was the last one to join this group. And we're just chatting in the messages, and it's like I could have been your dad. Like if I had kids while I was 16 or 13, I could be all of these guys' dads. So so they referred to me as, that's why they referred to me as Dad. And ironically, being the oldest one here, I should probably have a better grasp of my why. But to be completely honest, I feel like I'm re-evaluating that and going through a process of sort of deconstructing the first half of my life and sort of reconstructing the next half. Because I recently had kids. My oldest is almost 4 now, and then twin girls who are almost 2. So I'm early on the parent, like learning the parent side of things, and that's kind of tweaked my perspective about life. So that's informed sort of my career as well. Like, what have I done, and then what do I have from what I've done, and then where do I want to go for the second half? So to be honest, I don't know exactly what it is. I know because I have a past in. I actually went to seminary, so I could be a pastor at a church or whatever. So I have a desire to see the betterment of humanity, because I feel like there's a divine sort of unique value in every person, And particularly in creatives, I found interacting with creatives, there's something really special about creatives in that we're able to communicate things or express things beyond words or logic. And that seems to register with humans on a deeper level than, to systematically explain something or to logically break something down, where like music universally will impact someone on a deeper emotional, spiritual level than, if you gave a lecture on 20 points of why this should be that. So I think my why is tied into the betterment of humanity and seeing the power of creatives and artists and designers having that at their disposal, having that as part of their makeup and DNA, and that they have something so worthy to share with the rest of the world. That actually, when you talked about why you work with creatives and why you're so driven by that, is that there's something so special about what creatives carry that is powerful. And for like coming out of the Asian culture too, like we're taught, no, you need to, make a good living. You need to support your family and have a
become
good
a doctor.
standing.
You can become
You
a
need
doctor,
to be the
or
doctor.
an attorney or accountant. Doctor,
Why are you no lawyer?
or accountant.
It's not just Asians, guys. All right.
Exactly. But if you look at like human history, the people who've changed the course of history at different, times in history were the people who had a vision, were the creatives, were the people who, colored outside the lines and went beyond what was already set. And so I feel like my why lies in there somewhere. It's connecting those people. And that's why I have a motion background, so motion and film. And I think part of what drove me there was the interest in narrative and story in individuals and as society, cultures, different ethnic groups. But what's kind of coming, like I feel like now I'm moving more towards strategy, is now breaking that stuff down and trying to see what can we make better, what's working, what's not working, and what can we, bring out to basically make this a better place to live. So I don't know if that's
love it.
for the beginnings of figuring that out.
Hey,
That's
Dot,
great.
I have a question. So you mentioned that you just left California to go over to Barcelona one day, right? But what was the reason why, or was there like a trigger that made you just go like, what, I'm done with this?
Good question.
Totally. Well, I needed to change. I was 25. I'm 32 now. I left in the summer of 2011, and I actually really wanted to pursue graphic design and work in creativity, but I felt like in LA I didn't have the resources, or I felt like I couldn't be like as creative enough, even though I was working, on indie films and doing like graphic design on indie films. And that's kind of like when I started knowing that, this is something that I can actually pursue. Like I have like, a natural eye and talent for this. And I'm going to go and study this in Barcelona, because the design at the time I've been following for many, many years was coming out of Europe, and it was coming out of Switzerland, and specifically the designers that I really liked were from Barcelona. It just had this really, really funky style, and I wanted to like put myself in the environment of all of the designers that I really admire, and be able to learn from them and learn from the masters. So I that's what I did. So it also happened after a really bad breakup from a long-term relationship, where I was like, okay, I'm never going to get younger than I am today. So
I know that feel.
This is my time to go live in la vida loca and siesta and do my thing in Barcelona. I had went there when I was 19 to like on a study abroad thing, but I didn't do much studying. But yeah, I just knew that I always wanted to live in Spain and live in Barcelona, and that's where I wanted to be. I just felt the vibes there, and I went there, and I discovered that I'm a fucking shitty designer. Like, I am never gonna be able to like compete with all like the people in Europe are like insanely talented. Like they just have like a different brain and think visually in a totally different way. And I'm like, there's no way, like, that I will ever, everybody and their grandma has Photoshop. There's no way that I'll ever be a competitive designer here. Like, who is I, joking, like design, I'm not even, I can't even use Illustrator, which is true. So I tried to, I felt like I had like so many years that I had to, in order for me to like even learn the basic, it would be so many, it would take me so many years to catch up with all of the other designers there. And that's because I had, went through the trajectory, like the traditional college education. I had to get the 9-to-5 job with, secure, benefits, which there's nothing wrong with that. But, the point where I had to leave all of that and just realize, and just understand the depth of my unhappiness and my unfulfillment, that I knew that I always want to live in Spain and I didn't go do it. Like, I would never be able to like live with myself and not be true to what I preach if I didn't go and do it and show others that, they can do it too. And so my, like Gandhi says, my life is my message. So what I'm doing is literally like what I believe in, like my values, and, what I really believe other people should, go after for what they believe in and what they dream about, because that's when you really truly grow and you can really take things to the next level and go where you're uncomfortable, be comfortable in uncomfortableness, right? So that's what Barcelona was. It was literally one of the lowest points in my life, because I was 25. I was having a quarter life crisis. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was, in debt. I had a bunch of credit card debt, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to survive. I couldn't get a Spanish visa. I, didn't know how I was going to pay rent, but somehow, I made it through. But it was literally, rock bottom for me. And so I built the reason why I'm not a pro. I'm a semi-pro, but I'm on the way to becoming a pro. At least that's, my objective. And it really took, being completely honest with myself and what I really wanted to do with my life, and then just going for it and never quitting. And literally that's how, I've got to do so many amazing things just within the last 8 years in Barcelona. I've met so many amazing people. I'm literally a global speaker. I've spoken in like 40 different countries. I've worked on campaigns all over the world. And that literally was just because I had no idea what the hell I was going to do with my life, but I figured it out. I figured it out on the way by doing things. And like by failing at graphic design, I learned that I was really good at social media. And one of my first clients was the festival that I dreamed of speaking and going to, which is the Off Festival. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it was one of the main reasons why I moved to Barcelona. And yeah, so now today I'm working, with a new festival called Digital Design Days, which I really want to invite all of you to join. I know you, Chris Do has spoken.
It's in Geneva,
Chris
right?
has spoken there twice. Yeah. So there's one. The main one is in Milan. The main festival. It started in Italy. So we've had 3 editions in Milan, and then we just had our last international edition in Geneva. And the next one will be back in October. It'll be in Milan, and then after October, which I don't have a date yet, will be in Hong Kong, then maybe Dubai or Japan. It's a kind of there's one traveling one, and there's one every year that's in Milan, and then one that goes to different cities. So I invite all of you to join me at Digital Design Days. It's really an event at another caliber. There's nothing like this in the US. And that's actually one of the reasons why I went to Europe, because I was really thirsty. I was very, very thirsty for, different, inspiration and, different ways of thinking. And so that's what really attracted me to Barcelona. I just kind of went with my gut, and now I'm, I'm a master networker, so I've just gotten to know a lot of different other creativity festivals, many designers. I'm also always looking for interesting designers to interview for my new blog that I'm starting called Design with Dot. I also blog about eating with Dot and traveling with Dot, because those are basically the main things that I have incorporated and designed my life to revolve around. So I literally I have like 4 hashtags that I've branded, which is hashtag work with Dot, hashtag eat with Dot, hashtag travel with Dot. And these are basically the things that I literally am just doing all the time. And that's what I get paid to do now, which is incredible. But it took me like, 8 years to design my life like that and to actually make it happen. So the earlier you start, I guess, going and achieving the things that you want to do and building and designing that life for yourself, the earlier you can start enjoying it, I guess.
Yeah, there's some crazy perspective that you're giving me right now personally. So there's definitely people I know in my very, very small, minute audience that think of me as someone who's further along than they are. And then there's me, in my perspective. I definitely think Dot is way further along than I am, right? And people like Chris Doe, you guys are like way up, out, way more successful than I am currently and possibly ever will be.
Success is relative too.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy though, because what you just said is you kind of feel the same way I do, and the same way the person who's watching me. And, it just seems like the farther along you get, you still feel like there's so much more to go. And it's always like that. And if it's really something to keep in mind, because it's really important. Never get comfortable. And if you're doing it right, you never will get comfortable. You'll just keep going on and on and on. You probably never feel like you're ever done. And it's really hard to identify sometimes the success that you do have. Because like right now, sitting here, I look over and I just see that little red number that had like 32 people. And if I had saw that number like a couple months ago, I'd probably be like freaking out. But now I'm seeing it and I'm just like, oh man, we got 32 people. Like, how are we going to get more? How are we going to get more? How are we going to do more? When actually it is a really crazy thing. You said yourself.
Well, I'll show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Dot, I have a question if you don't mind.
Sure.
So you mentioned, it was just like a real low for you, right? You went to Barcelona and the quarter life crisis and all that, which is awesome of you to even admit. And we appreciate you being super honest with us. What do you say the point is where you recognize like, okay, like I got something, maybe I'm on the upswing now? Like when does stuff kind of like change for you?
Well, so I think I always suffered, even now, like from confidence issues. And I know like a lot of creatives as well, like where, I'm a natural introvert. And I always like to tell people I had my first rebranding when I was in 6th grade, because from like kindergarten to 5th grade, I was a freaking mute. Like and people think I'm so outgoing. I'm a social butterfly, but
I was the same
really
way.
I'm a really quiet person, and I keep to myself. And it wasn't until 5th grade where, my 5th grade teacher called my parents into, parent-teacher conference or whatever, because I was literally failing participation. Like I was getting like an F or whatever grades we got in 5th grade. I wasn't participating. I would never raise my hand. So, obviously my Asian mother kicked my ass and was like, you've got to start, getting more involved, and you have to get straight A's. Like you can't, get all A's and not get an A in participation. Like this is ridiculous. Sure. So I did a rebranding in 6th grade, right? Because from 5th to 6th in America, you basically can go to a new school and start junior high school. So in junior high school, I literally decided I want to be like the most popular girl in high school. I want everyone to know me, and I'm gonna be volunteering and be like on ASB and like do all of the things like popular girls did. And so that was like just as superficial as that was. That's what I put my mind to. So I decided for any time a teacher like would ask for student participation, I would literally shit my pants. Like I shit you not. Actually, I did like pee in like the middle, in like first grade. I was so shy. I couldn't ask to go to the bathroom, and I would just pee like during story time because I was too shy to ask to go to the bathroom. Okay, so now I'm like in sixth grade, you know, I'm like 11 years old. I'm like, okay, I'm going to raise my hand every time the teacher, you know, asked for a volunteer. So that's what I did. Every time they asked for a volunteer or, you know, student participation, I would volunteer and raise my hand. And so I did this every day. And as sooner or later, I got better at this and I got more comfortable at just raising my hand and participating in class. So this comes like, I don't know why I'm like that, but I just always had like confidence issues, and the level of confidence I have now has taken me many years. I'm 32. It's taken me 32 years to, you know, be comfortable. I'm still like trying to get comfortable in my own skin and comfortable with like putting each post out there. You know, I moved to Barcelona like 8 years ago in 2011, and I wanted to start a blog then. And I was too afraid to put my opinion out there because of what people might judge me and all of that stupid like nonsense that we tell ourselves. But if I had started a blog 8 years ago, like I would be killing it right now.
Exactly.
These are like are like, that's why I like just start today. Like if you know that you want to do something. So now I'm finally doing the freaking blog. But the point of when I knew, so getting back to the question, like when I was, you know, starting, like actually kicking off in Barcelona was, I got accepted into this, it was called Off Atelier at the time. So this was basically one of the first learn by doing type of master courses that the Off Festival created for 12 students only that would be given the opportunity to create the campaign for the festival. So this was like my first experience promoting, not only promoting, but being part of the team that created the entire graphic campaign, the visuals, and all of the video teasers that would be used to get people to buy tickets. And it was 12 students. I was the most underqualified one in terms of like, you know, knowing all the software and computer programs. Everyone else they're probably like in their 20s to 40s, like, yeah, mid 20s to 40s. And they were already, you know, they've already worked in agencies. They're like art directors and like, you know, all of these fancy people there. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, I don't even know like how I got in there, but they accepted me in the program. And that's when I really built my confidence, because I knew that I had something that nobody else there had. And that was my like eagerness to always try, my like enthusiasm. And basically that translated onto social media. Like you know, a lot of people fake their personality, or they aren't who themselves. They're not authentic. But I just was, social media in college for me was the only place that I felt like that was my true self. And like when I'm in person, it's like the exact opposite for me, where I was able to really express myself through Facebook and social media. But in real life, I felt like I had to like almost pretend to be somebody I'm not, or what society, you know, wants me to be. And I think what happened during these 9 months that I worked with all of these amazing creative people from all over the world on this campaign was that I learned and got confidence for what I was good at. And that I had to do by doing many things and trying, you know, okay, I'm not going to be the motion designer because I suck at that. I'm not going to be, I don't know what other designing things, or I can't be the video maker. I can't be the photographer. But guess what? I can do the social media. And that was like, honestly, probably one of the most important parts of the campaign. Every part is important. You know, there's not one thing without the other, but it's like, you know, it's like a movie. You need every person on the team. And my part was doing the social media. How are we going to get all of these beautiful videos and beautiful design work seen by everyone? How are we going to create an audience around, this festival and this movement that we're trying to start in Barcelona? And that that's what I was good at doing. And as soon as the festival, we launched the festival that year of 2012, it was a huge success. We sold out way early on, like to 4,000 creative people all over, Europe and the world. That's when I got the confidence to know that social media is such a powerful tool to communicate your message to the world and create community around what you're doing. And so for me, who I always have been supporting are creative people and designers, and that's what I've been creating community around. So I built the community. So after the event, I was offered, nobody else got offered except me, to actually work with the festival to build their social media, to start their Instagram account. So I literally started their Instagram account, from 0 to 30K in like a period of like 9 months or something. By using all these social media strategies and content strategies that I am trying to teach others to do. And that's kind of where it started. It started with my first client. I literally didn't have a job. I was like, emailing everyone, like, I need an internship, I need this. But, it was the fact that I was thrown like a tiny bone, to do this Instagram account. And I started with that one Instagram account that launched me to every freaking important creative festival in Europe. And that's how I got my confidence, because I was able to accept, like, oh my God, Dot, you're actually good at this. Like, you know what you're doing. Or else most of the time I have no idea what I'm freaking doing. But this one thing, like social media, I know what I'm doing here.
Yes,
and
it's obvious.
I don't know if that answers your question or not.
No, it did. It absolutely did. And it was great to hear all the context behind it. It helped me, like, in my mind go through it, because that's tough. Like, and like you said, I think it's like the opposite problem. Most people are sitting down and like, man, what do I put on social media? What am I going to write about? What am I going to post? And like for you, it was this opposite, right? You're like, damn, I finally get to say what I want to say. Like, I'm going to throw it up here. That's probably why you did so well.
Yeah, it
was awesome.
It was a journey. So yeah, I noticed that we dropped down followers. So I'm sorry, viewers.
Oh no, we usually wrap it up like at 10. So the people that this is just extra now.
Yeah, it's not
extra.
because of the content. Yeah, it's because it's getting late for some people.
Okay, cool.
I think this is
I'll let you guys
fascinating.
go to bed now.
Yeah, no, this call was awesome. I'm gonna need to go back and rewatch it to get all the actual knowledge out of it personally. But yeah,
I know my elevator pitch is in here somewhere. So if you could send me this,
yeah,
I gotta.
You're
pull
gonna
it
tell
out.
me this later, right?
No, I mean, like, this is what I love about what we do.
My light
man.
died, so I'm all dark now.
But like what we talked about before we came on this call, right? What are we going to talk about? And we all kind of agreed, like, contrary to like some of the stuff out there, we're like, we make magic. We do better when we almost don't have a plan, right? And like, look what happened, man. Like 30 minutes on the call, Dot showed up, and this is probably like the best call we had, So like, I think it's an attribution to, like you said, the creative community, like how greatness just comes from, all of us. I never would have thought like we would have got you on a call, so I'm super stoked about it.
And I'm pretty sure you said in the chat that you were in bed, right?
Well, yeah, I just woke up,
So-
and your live popped up. I'm like, this is awesome.
So check this out, guys. So people watching, check this out. So Dot just rolls out of bed. She throws on her thing on her phone, I'm presuming, or your laptop or whatever, and just starts dropping knowledge with no prep. And this is like one of our best episodes. So like, it's really not that hard, right? Like, it's everybody in this room, or everybody in the chat room, everybody live. We all are expert in something. We all know something, and we all have an audience that needs to hear from us, whether we're doing something with it or not. So just remember that you can go on there, you can drop your knowledge, and it may sound stupid to you personally, but there's always going to be somebody who's not as far along as you are. There's always going to be somebody that you could be given the leg up on, to get their life ahead just a little bit. And that's how you grow your fans. And it's true.
No, you're right, man. I think too, like, even if you do the same thing, because like, how is it that we all do like something similar, but we all can, like, we're not competing, right? And I think it's because for, you know, everything that we do, like you are the only person that does it like you, right? Somebody else does what you do maybe, but they do it a little different. So I wouldn't be afraid of that either, right? Because like we get that kind of like weird feeling like you're a designer, I'm a designer, like what are we going to talk about? But
Yep.
you're right, Mike, like everyone's audience is like, they want to know what you think, not, you know, what Dot thinks, not what Frank thinks, not what Chris thinks. They want to know what you think. So give it to them.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just
Right.
Eric shares a lot about his cultural differences between us and like how his family was and stuff like that. And that's stuff that I never had. So giving that to our audience, just in the fact of how he grew up, just that little difference. I mean, that's a huge, massive difference between me and Eric, where, you know, I don't even know what the specifics are, but the things that he struggled with from his childhood are different from the things that I struggle with from my childhood. And we still do the same things. We have the same deliverables, but two completely different stories, two completely different people, two completely different audiences. So it's so cool that we can all come together and, you know, all share in the same place to the same people.
Yeah, this is
Wow.
awesome.
My
Thank you for creating this space for people to listen and take part of. So kudos to you.
Yeah, so it's the other everybody
In
here.
Portland? Are you in Portland?
I'm in Eugene.
Oh, Eugene. Okay, yeah. I've
Who's
been there
Eugene?
once.
Yeah, the other city in Oregon. There's only two. So
Yeah, Dot, thank you for your time and for coming on.
Yeah.
Appreciate
that was
you.
awesome.
Pleasure. So I just want to leave everyone here. If you're interested in DDD, I'm happy to send out a comp ticket. Just let me know. I'm really, really involved with the. I know it's in Milan, so you guys have a lot of, you know, travel and airfare expenses. But let me know if you want to come, because I have a guest list, and I'm happy to have, you know, one or all of you, as many as I can get of you, over to Milan and experience a design city.
damn.
So
When is it?
Yeah, what are the dates?
October 10, 11, 12.
I might take you up
SemiPro
on that.
meetup.
I can go in
the
Eric's
campaign-
suitcase.
So the campaign isn't out yet. I don't know who's speaking, but we announced like some of the people that we're aiming to get speak, and they're pretty high level big dogs. And if you have any suggestions, please send them my way. It's a festival that we're creating for everybody that is creative and everybody that is taking part of the digital revolution or transformation, digital transformation. So if there's a specific topic, there's a workshop that you want to give, that you think that you can contribute to the community. I also invite everybody to join the Digital Design Days community. It's, you know, not as active as the future, but we just launched it, you know, a couple months ago. So we want people to start joining and figuring out, you know, how we can serve all of the creatives in there.
I'm down.
And then
Sounds
I do also want to, say that if you guys are doing another one of these SemiPros, I'm happy to, talk about social media, answer any of your questions. If anybody needs help with their Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, I'm happy to give as much, of my advice through my 8 years of practice as possible.
Please help me with my YouTube.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Yes, that's
I just
Yes.
requested to join
Yes.
Digital Design Days.
Yes. Let's
Okay.
set it up.
Yeah, we're on here. We're gonna be on here every Sunday at 9 p.m. PST. So an hour and a half ago every Sunday. So I guess that's what,
Okay,
7
cool.
o'clock for you in the morning.
Damn, you're up
Sure. I should
early.
be up anyways.
Damn,
All right.
Have a
Let's
real-
set it up.
we'll have a real pro.
Cool.
All right, guys. I've got to go.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no
She's out.
stats.
Oh no, she's back.
Phone call. See, people are calling me. I've got to go now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
All
important.
right.
Thanks,
All
Todd.
right,
We
Todd.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys. Bye,
Bye.
guys. Bye.
That was.
You know, the crazy thing
sick.
was like, I posted about this in one of the groups that I'm in, and they're like, "Are you guys ever gonna have any female voices on there?" And I was just like,
What
and
now?
then document. I'm like, "Yes, we're diverse."
Yeah. yeah,
Obviously,
totally.
didn't watch you last week when you did a female voice.
Yeah, that's
Hopefully.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, that was awkward.
All right, next up, Draplin, right?
Yeah, let me just send him the Zoom
Yeah, we
link.
think-
1 second.
Yeah. Matter of fact, what's he doing? He's probably up. Yo, I'll order you a pizza right now. Can you hop on?
All right, so it's 10:34. Do we have any other subjects we want to try to like any follow-ups or anything you guys have in your minds? Anything hot? We know Zach's got to go to bed. It's
I'm
fine.
going to
Tuck
bed,
in
man.
Zach.
Going to bed.
I'm about to head out too. I'm really tired.
All right, everybody say goodnight to Zach in the chat. Hearts for
Good
Zach.
night, Zach in the chat.
Zach, we love you.
All right, so what do I just like end it
Love
here?
y'all.
Is this it?
I'm gonna post for live.
Yeah,
Dude,
I think
we need
it's
some sort of send off. What's our send off supposed to be? We're the semi-pros. We're not pros.
Hey, nobody's a pro, man. You heard Dot. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways, man.
Yeah, that's
It's
really
like,
good.
even with-
Actually,
even with Debbie Millman at the conference, the AIGA conference, when she was talking to Chris, like that was one of her big like points, right? She was like, I don't feel like I made it. Like I'm just as nervous as I ever was. And that's someone at her level to say something like that. It's like, what really does qualify you as a pro? Because the more people I get the opportunity to speak to that have, you know, clout and they've been around and you're like, wow, you are X, right? They are so like just normal and like, yeah, no, I mean, man, I'm hoping this turns out well and all. They're the same, man. So I really don't know what my definition of a pro would be, you know, like it's just different levels, different
So
parts of the journey.
So maybe our show is we grab the people who we see as pros and we bring them down into our little group to just be a normal
bring them down a
person.
notch.
No,
We'll
not
take
like
you
that.
on the peg. Semi-pros.
You know what I mean?
Get ready to lower your game, semi-pros.
Okay, that went completely opposite of what I was thinking. Like, I don't know, just like bring them to a comfortable place where they're not, you know, oh, can you sign my book? Or, you know, I don't know, like just like a place to talk. Not that we have the clout to talk to them. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, guys. Just forget it.
I
Dad?
don't know if I'm.
We'll figure it out.
I get what you're saying.
Am I dating myself? What if we're the digital cheers? You know, sometimes
Kinda
you want to go where.
Kind of like that.
No? Yeah.
Let's do that. No, I'm with you. Frankie, I'm on board now. I'm on board with the Cheers reference.
Mike would be a good barkeep. He'd just be like wiping the table. Hey, so what's going on?
Hey, hello. How's it going? Long night. All right, so go to what's our website? semipros.co. You can go on there. You can sign up for our email list. Wow, it's really official. Eric set up the whole thing all by himself.
We didn't send anything out yet.
We got to write some emails.
Yeah,
we don't want to spam
email,
people.
The email is so exclusive that we don't even send emails. So get on there. You don't want
Hey,
to
the
miss
resources are live, dude. The resources are live.
Yeah,
we
Frankie's
don't want to
making
send.
stuff.
We don't want to send just random crap to people. So if you guys sign up for the emails, we're not going to send you something unless we think it's actually helpful.
Yeah,
so,
we want to send like precise crap.
Well said.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It says,
sign up. Don't worry, I filter it. No one's going to send you weird stuff.
Yeah, you want Eric in charge of that because he is. I think he's
'Cause
like
that
the
puts some weird
most.
stuff.
He's the nicest guy on here. So
we
you know
send
he's not gonna
Eric all
spam you.
weird stuff.
Eric is our moral compass.
No. Dad is the moral compass.
Yeah,
Yeah, like when we get off this call, Dad's gonna be like, guys.
You used the wrong f stop, you goddamn idiots.
All right. Well,
All right, guys.
Sorry,
let's
I guess
close
I
this
got
out. Thanks, guys, for joining us this week. We'll be back next week at the same time, 9 p.m. PST, Sundays.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you guys have any questions or topics that you want to talk about, or if you just want to be on the show, go to our site, www.semipros.co. Yeah, thanks for the good time, guys.
All right, we're playing the outro music. We got
Thanks,
outro
everyone.
music.
And I love you guys, man.
See you guys.
Likewise.
Okay.
I love how Frankie says, I love you guys, and Eric says,
Eric's like, jeez.
Eric's like, I don't do love. My upbringing.
I don't do love.
Man. I don't want to wait. We should just sing our outro.